You stand before the remnants of a towering structure, taking in the bleak sight before you. Looking past the crumbling architecture and growing moss, you can see the echoes of dignity that this place once possessed. Now, however, it stands empty and silent, devoid of life save for the insects, birds, and slugs on the island. You call out, but no one responds. You came to this place seeking to join the Sentinels of Light, but it's clear that no one remains to welcome you. You stare at the ruins for a little while longer before turning to walk away. As you approach your boat on the beach, however, you notice another vessel drawing closer. Two figures step out from the craft and begin making their way up the beach toward you. You call out to the strangers, recognizing their uniforms as Sentinel attire. The two of them ask to see your commanding officer, but you quickly inform them that you have no commanding officer, as the entire outpost is abandoned. They ask you for your rank, and you tell them that you don't really have a rank yet either. The man, Lucian, bemoans the fact that they've come all this way to recruit one lone sentinel, and a rookie at that. His partner, Senna, urges Lucian to calm down, then addresses you. She informs you that a harrowing is on its way, the largest Runeterra has ever seen. As if on cue, a massive cloud of black mist becomes visible on the horizon, hurriedly making its way across the water toward the island. At once, you feel both dread and excitement, only to realize that you don't have a weapon with which to defend yourself. Realizing that you all have no other choice, Senna informs you and Lucian to ready yourselves, as the undead will soon be upon you. The black mist rolls up onto the shoreline. From the haze, countless malformed creatures emerge, moving toward you with murderous intent. The sight sends a chill down your spine, but Lucian and Senna respond calmly with a torrent of light from their weapons. Their movements tell of years of experience, each shot carefully aimed to tear through the onslaught. As you watch, transfixed, a shadow looms over you. You turn and see a hulking undead figure with several faces raising its claw, preparing to strike you down. Senna calls out a warning and fires a bolt of light from her cannon. The shot passes right through you, leaving you unharmed and tearing a hole through the monster's chest. Though you question how such a thing is possible, Senna urges you to get to cover, since you have no way of defending yourself. You hurriedly make your way back up the path you came from, but quickly find yourself surrounded by howling rays. You call out for help, but Senna and Lucian seem preoccupied with the overwhelming number of adversaries they face on the beach. Dread begins to wash over you as you realize how hopeless the situation is. Outnumbered and with no way to fight back, the rays start to close in on you. Just as they're about to reach you, though, something cuts through the black mist and strikes down the undead where they stand. A peculiar girl with giant scissors stands before you, asking you if you're alright. You stammer uncertainly, and the girl apologizes for her poor manners, introducing herself as Gwen. Before you can even respond, she grabs your hand, urging you to follow her to safety. With little choice in the matter, you allow Gwen to take your hand and lead you back up the path toward the ruins, cutting down any undead that stand before you in the process. You breathe a sigh of relief as Gwen drags you into the ruins. The interior of the structure seems to be in a much better state than the outside, but not by much. The two of you exchange words briefly, but Gwen soon insists on returning to the fight outside to aid the sentinels on the beach. She rushes back out the door, hacking away at the undead with her scissors and piercing their grotesque forms with floating needles. As Gwen moves, she forms a peculiar blue mist with each step that seems to drive back the black mist around her. With nothing else to do, you look around the sentinel base to familiarize yourself with your new surroundings. Your attention is drawn to a room with nothing but a lone table in the center, and upon closer inspection, you realize that this table looks to be a map of the known world Runeterra. A peculiar object rests on top of the table. It looks almost like a relic weapon, but something about it seems different from the ones wielded by Lucian and Cinna. You can hear a faint thrumming emanating from it, almost like the relic is calling out to you. You reach out and clutch the relic in your hand, lifting it from the table. You then notice that a portion of the map seems to be glowing in response, the small island that houses Sentinel headquarters. Cautiously, you bring the relic closer to the table. The two seem to thrum in unison together before going dim. Then the entire building starts to shudder. The shaking stops almost as abruptly as it began. All around you, ancient markings on the walls start to light up one by one. Then, in a flash, you see the entire island outside consumed by light. In a massive pulse of magic, the black mist is dispelled from the island, and the markings return to normal. You stand there amazed and perplexed, but are quickly shaken from your stupor by the sound of footsteps behind you. You turn to see Lucian, Cinna, and Gwen walking into the base, looking equally perplexed. Lucian interrogates you about what you just did, but Cinna quickly reminds him that you are not the only one they should be interrogating. Both Sentinels quickly return their attention to Gwen, asking her where she came from and what the mysterious mist that she wields is. Gwen tells them that her power is the hallowed mist, and that she herself is uncertain of its true origins. Nonetheless, she assures them that she is here to fight by their side, and is delighted to make their acquaintance. Lucian, though skeptical, nonetheless agrees, knowing that they could use all the help they can get. As everyone discusses what to do next, the map on the table suddenly flickers to life. The image of a strange figure suddenly appears over the table, announcing himself as Fetu of Baru, demanding that you respond. You and the other Sentinels gather around the table as the image of a strange man flickers above it. You inquire as to his identity, and he reintroduces himself as Sentinel Fetu of the Baru. You ask Fetu how he is speaking to you, to which he replies that communication between Sentinel bases is possible, thanks to the world maps within. Fetu quickly notes the relic in your possession and remarks that the Wayfinder has chosen a new wielder. At your apparent confusion, Fetu explains that the Wayfinder is a peculiar relic that allows instant travel to any other Sentinel outpost, as well as instant return to headquarters from any location. Unfortunately, the relic appears to have a mind of its own, and only its chosen wielder may use this power. Lucian seems disgruntled at the idea that a mere rookie would be chosen to wield such an important tool, but quickly turns his attention back to the map. The shadows are growing longer and darker, and Cinna comments that the Ruined King is growing stronger. You inquire as to the identity of this Ruined King, and Lucian impatiently explains that he is the source of the black mist and the cause of the harrowing. Fetu interrupts and informs you that the Baru outpost is on the brink of collapse, and that your conversation must come to an abrupt end. Fetu warns you that it would be futile to come to his aid, despite your insistence, and entrusts you with a mission. Reach out to the other Sentinel outposts instead, and gather an army strong enough to face the Ruined King. The image fades and an eerie silence falls over the map room. Then, Lucian and Cinna turn to you and Gwen. Begrudgingly, they acknowledge that they need your help for this venture, as well as Gwen's ability to fend off the undead. Though hesitant, the gravity of the situation is apparent to you, and you agree to aid them on their journey to gather a Sentinel army. Thus, you, Cinna, Gwen, and Lucian agree to set out for the location on the map where the shadows are darkest, Demacia. There you intend to gather what allies you can, and confront the Ruined King himself.